One of the best approaches to becoming a pro at anything, to achieving mastery at anything, is to have a mindset or the same approach that a child has to master anything. Take on the posture of a child, be like a child, have the mindset of a child. So I was recently reading Robert Greene's book on mastery, and somewhere in the book he said something like, children learn faster than adults, not because they are smarter, but because they accept their inferiority, right? And they don't mind being bad at something. They don't pretend like they already know, right? They mess up, they get up, and then they keep going. And it's simple. Like if you think about it, like it's easier to find a young child that is learning multiple languages at a time, and then the child would actually learn it compared to an adult learning the same language. The child sort of learns faster. Like it made me pause, and then I also remembered this saying from the Bible where Jesus was saying, "Except ye be converted and become as little children, right? You will not enter into the kingdom of heaven." And I think like maybe a follow-up saying to that was something about, "Whosoever shall humble himself as this little child, the same is the greatest." Right. So we're thinking of all of these sayings from Robert Greene and the one from the Bible. I was thinking, what if we just thought of mastery or becoming pro or becoming excellent at something as some form of heaven, right? And if that's the case, I think the fastest way to get there wouldn't be by trying to look like you've arrived, like you figured everything out, like you know what you're doing in the early stage of your learning, the early stage of you learning something. And I think you won't do that also by faking confidence or trying to like mask or hide your ignorance. I think the best way would be to humble yourself like a child, right? And if you think about it, kids, like children, they don't fake mastery, right? A child learning to walk doesn't care how many times they fall. Like a kid trying to draw a dragon doesn't care whether when once he's finished drawing the dragon, it's going to look like a potato with just wings, right? And the wings will also look funny. They don't care about all of that. They just keep trying and they keep absorbing knowledge, right? They try, it doesn't look as good as they want. They fail at it in that sense. And then they absorb knowledge, they get feedback, and then they keep trying and trying and trying. But I think one thing that I've come to observe about us, or as we grow older, as we become adults, is we become self-conscious, right? We hate being seen as bad at something. That awkward phase, where you're new at this thing, where you're a beginner, like it's something no one likes. That is exactly the space where mastery begins. The space, that awkward phase, the slow progress, the beginner's mind. That is where the mastery begins. And I think one of the major things that happen every time you're trying to learn a new skill or you get into a new space, there's usually conversation about inferiority complex, right? And I think this relates with this particular saying. And it made me just go do some research into what was the origin of the term inferiority complex. And then when I looked it up, I found Alfred Adler, the psychologist who coined the term inferiority complex, originally didn't see it as a bad thing, right? They saw it as something that was necessary, something that gives you a chance to improve, to move forward, to grow, right? But I think the key really is how we respond to this feeling of inferiority. And I think it's temporary. It's a temporary feeling of inferiority. Some people deny their inferiority. They act like they know it all, like they figured everything out in this space, right? Other people collapse under it. Maybe they think they are not good enough. They just stop trying. And I think the third way, which I feel I'm learning to see is the best way, is to lean into this feeling, right? To lean into it with curiosity, like a child, right? And I think when Jesus was saying become like a child, I don't think he was trying to just make childhood look glamorous and feel like they were the best times of our life, the good old days. I think the mindset there is just like the posture of the heart. Like a child is open to learning. Like they have this humble, teachable mindset, right? They're willing to be taught. So the feeling of I'm not good enough yet, I think, is not something we should be hiding, right? Like I'm coming to believe it's the doorway, right? It's your chance to see, okay, this thing is not as perfect as I want. It doesn't look perfect yet. That means I can improve on it. And even the improved thing can be improved upon, right? So lately, when I get those feelings of, okay, I feel behind, or I feel small in a particular space, or I feel like I'm not there yet, like I'm learning to not try to just run from it. I know, okay, this is a signal. Okay, first, I'm in the right space. Then secondly, now okay, I know I have things to learn, and I know the more I learn, the better I get, right? It's just coming to an understanding that you won't be able to, you cannot really master anything if you are not allowing yourself to temporarily look foolish, temporarily look like you don't know what you're doing, right? And I think the way I would close is to say, like, I feel the fastest path to mastery isn't pretending to be a master, isn't acting like you know it, or is admitting you're not that person yet, and then finding the things you need to do, like giving yourself evidence to boost that confidence in yourself, learning, posturing yourself as a child, and then you learn, and you fail, you try again, and then over time you just see you've learned, you've improved. You're no longer this new person that doesn't know anything in that space. So again, the fastest path to mastery isn't pretending to be a master. It's admitting that you're not, and then doing something about it. Then leaning into it with curiosity. And then once you lean into it, you can then learn to do it better.